What's up, YouTube? It's Kenny again. Sitting here at a receiver in Groveport, Ohio. I'll be sitting here for the rest of the night. I pick up in Massillon, Ohio tomorrow afternoon. Just thought I'd make a video and talk a little bit about my thoughts now that I've spent more time with the van. So today was my second paycheck back. I didn't get any paycheck last week. So as of next week, start banging on the savings some more. Savings is at $10,000. Pulled a little bit out this time because I had stuff to do to the van. Hopefully I can get us up to 12, maybe 13 by the time I go in again. I got to go in at the end of September on the 23rd. Hopefully I'll be able to take enough time off to get that van into a shop, have it gone over with a fine-tooth comb. I really want somebody to look at all the rubber components. I want all of the vacuum lines and fuel lines, and I want all of the rubber looked at really extensively to make sure that nothing's going to pop on me because it's been sitting and dry rotting. Some things, like that top radiator hose, looked brand new, but I didn't really get a good look at the bottom one. I'll probably go ahead and just have the bottom one and the belt, serpentine belt, changed, unless they just both look brand new. I really don't know the extent to which somebody did work to it. Now, I don't know if somebody put tires and had work done on it before it sat or after. Now, the lady that I bought it from said that they took it in and had some stuff done to it. However, and the oil and transmission fluid looks brand new. It looks like it was just changed, and transmission fluid isn't something that you change. So but the sticker on the window, it had a little sticker from a place where it was serviced, and it said like 101,000 miles, but the date on it was like 2 years ago. So I don't know if it was serviced before or after it sat. Basically, it had to have sat more than just this one time to have such low miles on it. So anyway, I want to get all of that really scrutinized and looked at, and anything that even, I'm going to tell them, anything that even looks like it might be suspect, I want it changed. I want all those rubber components safe and changed. And then once that's done and I get an okay from a shop that's looked over it really well, I don't know how much more mechanical stuff I'm going to do to it. I will have 100,000 mile service done on it. I will definitely take it in and have oil, transmission. I'd like to have the transmission drained, filtered, and refilled. Some places don't like to do it to older vehicles, but that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to have the oil and transmission fluid done. I'd like to have the radiator flushed, even though it doesn't appear to need to be flushed. And I'd like to have the differential, the rear differential, drained and refilled. The fuel filter changed. I just like, all the starter, water pump, alternator, all that stuff. Like, everything just looks so good and seems to be functioning so well that I'm not sure I'm going to just go ahead and change it preemptively. So depending on how much all of that costs, hopefully I can get all that done the next time I'm in town. I've already purchased the paint, and I do plan on repainting the hood and the doors and stuff where it's messed up. I've already bought the paint for that and most of the supplies, so I don't have to spend any money on that. Maybe a little bit for some masking materials and stuff. So basically, once this mechanical stuff is done and I feel confident in it, like, guys, that's when we really get started. That's when we really start thinking about the solar and the interior. And I've been putting a lot more thought into it. And, obviously I put a lot of thought into it over the last few years already. I think with the solar, I'm going to go with 800 or 1,000 watts instead of 1,200. Just thinking about it in my head, I don't know that I want to cover the whole top and have it sticking off a little bit. It's going to stick out a little bit on the sides from the rack. But I don't know that I want to just cover the whole top, because I'd like to get some sort of aerodynamics out of it. I figure if I put two 400 watt panels toward the back 2/3, okay, then what I may do is figure out a way to then get a 200 watt panel. So mount the 400 watt panels flat, and then maybe try to figure out a way to get a 200 watt panel that sits at an angle down toward the roof to make it aerodynamic so the wind doesn't catch underneath it. Either that, or I'm going to have to put something in front of those panels to try to keep that wind from just going up under there and pushing up on those panels. I think I have decided that I'm going to do the EcoFlow Wave 2. All right, now I've gone back and forth because it's expensive. I've gone back and forth over whether I should do it or not. But I think if I get the Wave 2 that has the battery, it's at about 1100 watt battery, and it will run the AC. It's an eco mode or whatever for like 8 hours. And so what that essentially does is if I run that for 8 hours, all I got to charge up to make that up the next day is 1,000 watts ish. And 800 watts of panels bring in about 6, ish. You're going to charge that 1,000 watts back up pretty quick. And then whatever I've used with lights and charging devices and making coffee, etc., which, is really not going to be that much. That on top of a DC to DC charger, I think will be enough. It's already going to be more than just about anybody else has. Now, if I get it up to 1,000 with that 200 watt panel, that'll be bringing in, 750, 800, something 750, hourly as the sun is really beating down on it. And the way those numbers work, like a lot of people are confused, and they think that when the sun's shining, they're going to be bringing in that much power. But those numbers are kind of averaged out during a day, because they say you're averaging 5 hours of good sun a day. Okay, but you're also going to bring some in before that in the morning, and you're also going to bring some in after that in the evening. Not a whole lot. It's going to be significantly less early morning and in the evening. But those numbers are average. So when they say, a 400 watt solar panel, okay, they're averaging that out over a whole day. Is basically what they're doing. So you're not going to be bringing in 400 watts, especially if it's mounted flat. Now, you might get a couple of hours if it's angled right at the sun. You might get a couple of hours of bringing in 400. But once that sun is not directly on it, it's going to bring in less. And so those numbers are kind of an average over a full day. And, you're averaging 400 watts for a 5 hour full sun period. But really you're going to get about 400 watts average 5 hours. So 1,200 watts over a full day. And so you can't expect to be getting 400 watts for 5 straight hours, because that number is kind of drawn out over a full day. Anyway, with 800 watts of panels, potentially 1,000, and a DC to DC charger doing, an hour of driving a day, I think that's going to be enough. As far as the batteries are concerned, like, I've gone back and forth, and I still continue to go back and forth between buying the Signature Solar server rack battery and going cheaper Chinese. If I bought one server rack battery, that'd be about 5,000 watt hours. And I do think that that's enough. The only real issue that I see is that if you have two batteries, you increase how fast you can charge them and how fast you can discharge them. And I don't think I need 10 kilowatts, so I don't need two of those EG4s. Those EnjoyBot ones that I've been looking at, I can get two 280 amp hours for only like a couple of $100 more than one of the EG4s. And that'll give me 7 kilowatts instead of 5. And it'll also double my charge and discharge capabilities. So, and then there's also the fact that a server rack battery is not a sealed battery. So if you get any kind of moisture issues in the van and stuff like that, that can be something that could harm that battery. Whereas if I go with the Chinese sealed battery, you don't have to worry about that at all. And these, in the past, all these Chinese and the EnjoyBots and stuff did not actually have a low temperature cutoff, but these new ones, these new updated ones actually do have a low temperature cutoff. So I'm considering going that route. It'll be more battery storage than I really need, more than I can charge back in a day. It'd take me a couple of days to charge it all the way from zero. But it's kind of good not to drain them too far, and maybe even not to charge them too far. If you're kind of hitting in the middle most of the time, like, that's actually kind of a good thing. So I may go that route. I've also think that I've decided that I'm going to remove the passenger seat and build something there, because this last time I was in, I actually sat the bench seat in the back down and laid on it, and I can almost sleep on it side to side. I mean, I could sleep on it. I just, you can't really stretch out, but I sleep kind of in a fetal position anyway. I could sleep on it. And so I think that I'm not going to move it and all that. I think I'm just going to leave it right where it is. And if anything, maybe I'll build myself some type of a footstool or something like that that can act as storage, that I can also slide up to it to lengthen it out a little bit for sleeping. And if I do that, then I'm not having to rip the whole floor out and all that, because I want to avoid that, at least in the beginning, until I get a feel for if that's really necessary or not. So the plan is coming along, needless to say. The passenger seat is likely going to go. I'm going to build some kind of a battery box just tall enough to insulate it and stuff, on the floor next to the driver's seat, and a platform that goes over there for some storage and maybe some counter space. And then on that passenger side, that's where I'm going to put that Wave 2 air conditioner heater. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some kind of a system that hooks to that passenger window, either with Velcro or with magnets, so that hose is piped out that passenger window, and do it that way. And if I need to, I'll insulate the hose off a little bit and stuff over there, and it'll be removable, so that when I drive, I can just pull it down off the window and drive, do whatever. And then when I stop, I can just pop it back up on that window, roll the window down some, and bam. And that's going to give me some more storage, some more area to work with. And I think, at least in the beginning, that's the majority of what I'm going to do. And I haven't decided if I'm doing file cabinets or if I'm going to build something, or how it's going to go in the dead space there for some kind of a counter, drawers type situation there. I'm playing around with the idea of maybe building some type of a framework that gives me some wood on the bottom and the top and the side that I can fasten stuff to without ripping out the whole interior. So that's a possibility. I got a lot of thoughts, and who knows what will actually get done. The next time I'm in, I'm going to try to get the mechanic work done, and then I'm going to start thinking about taking a period of time off where I'm not going to do anything else except focus on that van for a week or so, and really, like, once the mechanic work's done, and then that next time I come in, I'm going to focus hard on more on thinking about the interior and maybe actually purchasing the solar stuff. And so the plan's starting to come together. It's still nothing's solidified, but I feel like I'm getting a lot closer, and it feels good. And just wanted to come on here and ramble and talk about it. If you're just finding the channel, hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave me a comment below, and thanks for all you guys who watch and support. See you on the next one.